That's a win. Not a good one, but 3-2 is better than a loss. It's 3 points. That's what matters. But we got a lot to talk about today. We got a lot to take away because this setup was different than we expected. We saw some sides of players we hadn't seen in a while, got some answers to some questions that we've had, and we're going to talk about all of that today. First and foremost, though, it was a weird setup from Hansi Flick, and he had to do that because of people being out due to some knocks or due to being Frankie had a kid, yada, yada, things like that. That means Casado started in the middle, Eric Garcia started at right back again, and we saw Rashford on the left and Rafinha through the center with Ferran Torres in front of them and Lamine Yamal on the right yet again. That's weird because Casado had been, there'd been talk about him potentially leaving, getting an offer for $30 million from these Premier League clubs that are sending $45 million on some no-name 22-year-old from Southampton. Like this money's coming out of nowhere, and yet they're only offering Barcelona $30 million for a guy who's pretty well versed in top league football after last season. But whatever. He didn't leave, and it seems like Hansi wants him to stay, and I don't even think they're going to bring the money in right now due to one-to-one issues and everything like that. But we're not getting into that today. Casado played today, and he was part of the problem, I think. I think just the whole setup from Hansi, because it was so different than what we've been used to seeing, what they've been used to playing as in preseason, last season, and so far this season. It was very different. That made it hard for these guys, on top of the fact that these guys were playing on the pitch that I played on when I was 7. Like they had just put in a new turf and watered it like I've never seen before. It's just very clearly gamesmanship, like they were saying, to make it difficult for Barcelona. And guess what? It worked. Barcelona struggled to pass. Everything on the ground looked terrible. You could really tell I think it was affecting Lamine Yamal. They just looked like they were wearing lead boots for a while Levante were ready for it, ready to press, ready to hunt. And credit to Levante, this whole game, they were really good. But I think because the pitch was so wet, it really, really messed up, especially Lamine Yamal, when his finishing was way off today. Whenever you tried to play a ball on the ground, it didn't go anywhere. It didn't get the skips that you'd expect it to on a normal grass, and it just got caught up in the water and slowed down. That was a problem for a lot of the finishing in the beginning, and the only goal that was able to finally break through was Pedri's when he ripped it, top corner, top bins, my GOAT, best midfielder in the world. That's what Nick Run the Foot Market is saying. That's what everybody should be saying because it's right. He's the GOAT. He's ridiculous. He was fantastic today. But Barcelona just really struggled. I think defensively there's a lot of questions to be asked. It's nice to see that the Highline's kind of working and to see it work with Araujo in the lineup. But and when Barcelona got exposed today, we've had questions about how Ron's going to be able to handle the setup with the Highline. I think he was fine. I really do think he was fine managing the high line and everything. And honestly, the flaws in defense today don't have to do with him. I think Pau Cubarsí was really, really poor when he put his hands behind on I think that was the first goal, and expected the guy to shoot, and he got faked out a little bit earlier instead of trying to defend. And then obviously the second goal I think is unlucky. The penalty, I think it's a 50-50 call. I think that's fair. Hernandez is terrible. He was just very clearly all over the place today. And guys, calm down with the corruption calls. I get it. I understand the corruption history between Franco, and I understand the nonsense. These referees, especially Hernandez is just bad. He is just a bad referee. So calm down with the bias. But I understand it. I understand why you're saying it. I'm trying to chill you all out that you can just be a bad referee. And I think that's what he was today. Then you can go back to the non-call for the when Lewandowski got fouled, and then Hernandez said that he stopped play because the guy got hit in the face, but then he wasn't even holding his face, and that wasn't a foul to begin with, and he didn't blow the whistle either. They were playing on. Bad refereeing. It's just bad refereeing to me. But Barcelona pulled through yet again. But there are still a lot of things like the front three, I think, at the beginning where it just didn't work. Front four, I guess you could say, Rafinha couldn't find any space to get on the ball. I think part of that is because Ron is not good on the ball, especially on a turf like this. It really exposes guys that don't play hard, good passes. And that's part of the reason I didn't think you could tell with Garcia or Pedri was doing so much in the beginning, because obviously his technical ability and his passing range and ability is just unparalleled in this side. Ron was not able to pass to anybody unless the guy was right next to him. And it's something that I think Inigo Martinez, he's much better on the ball than Ron was. And We see a lot of passes to the either the number 10 or to the striker when they come a little deep, and then the center back passes between the lines to them or into the half spaces. That didn't happen at all, especially from Ron today. It happened a couple times from Kubarsi, but it has to do with the pitch just being terrible. It's hard to play a long pass that hard on the ground that isn't going to get eaten up by the water, and is also easy enough to control for the attackers. Part of the reason is that I think it was hard for Rafinha to get on the ball. Whatever it was, though, I think the combination of all those things, the new players, I don't think Rashford looked great today. I think a lot of it has to do with the pitch, throwing everybody off. I think Manu Sanchez, who's defending Lamine Yamal, did a fantastic job. I also think the pitch being so crappy affected him, but that's fine. Like it's going to happen. Teams are going to play this way. In Copa del Rey matches against Linares, it's going to happen. But you just have to, get past it and level up. And we saw that develop in the second half when a more familiar setup was brought on. When it was much more similar to what we had seen last season. Rafinha went out for Rashford on the left. Dani Olmo came in the center. And guys, I really think Dani Olmo's a litmus test. I think he was unbelievable today. He was exactly what we needed to link up the play in the middle, to have that close control and link up with his teammates. I really thought he was fantastic. And, I would have asked for more. Lamine Yamal played a couple great balls to him with the outside of his boot that didn't come together. I still think Dani Olmo was fantastic today. You guys can say what you want, whatever. And then we'll get into the ratings as we go through, because I think that's the main premise of the game. We warmed into it. Pedri scored a great goal. Got a little lucky with the third as well, and ended up scraping through here. I do think. Let's do with the ratings. I think Joan Garcia was solid. I think he came out of his box okay. Obviously, I think his penalty job there wasn't good. I don't know what he was. I thought he must have thought Morales was going to the middle. That didn't happen. But whatever. Yeah, whatever, guys. I think he was fine. I'm gonna give him like a 6. I think he made 1 or 2 saves where he looked like a proper cat. But there were a lot of times where, especially on the penalty, I really didn't like that. For that reason, I really, really. I'm going to have to take his rating down to a 5 or a 6 there. Backline, Kubarsi, yeah, I think because of that, because of being pretty influential in the first goal for Levante, I got to give him a 5 or a 6 as well. Ron, not any better, maybe a 6, just because I think he was a little bit more solid, but again, I think he actually hurt the team on the ball, and you could tell the difference when Christensen got on the ball. He was being able to bypass the fullback, right? We saw Christensen play the ball directly to Lamine Yamal at times when Ron was just going straight to the right back, whether it was Eric Garcia or Koundé, or did they come out, whatever, whether to the right back or to whether it was Gavi or Casado coming deep to him. So yeah, 6s for both of them. Backline, I think Eric Garcia was pretty good. Got a couple opportunities. Was working okay with Lamine. It wasn't great. It didn't look that great, but I think he was doing okay. I'm going to give him a 6.5, 7. Balde on the left, unfortunate, really, really unfortunate, but was stupid with the yellow card, threw the ball down like that. That's a yellow card. That's dissent very clearly. I get it. Solid, whatever, 6, 6.5. I think he had a decent game. The chemistry there is not there with Rashford. You saw them kind of pointing to talk to each other and tell them where to go. It was just not clicking yet, and that makes sense, right? But when the whole team is not clicking together, that becomes more and more apparent, more and more obvious, more and more painful. So whatever, 6.5. Pedri, man of the match, 9 out of 10. Maybe you give him a 10 out of 10. I think he's perfect. He lost the ball a couple times, won it back when he did, or got it out of the play. I also, oh my God, I think this was for the first goal, for the breakaway goal that Balde. I don't know if it was the Balde handball or what, but I think it was the Balde handball. Pedri put in a tackle, and it bounces right off the Levante player and into space perfectly for him. That happened a couple times today, where it's just unfortunate, and the pitch being so crappy and Barcelona not being used to it. Maybe Levante were in a better position to handle it that way, and they just got every bounce in the first half. That really, really helped Barcelona struggle even more than probably could have if they got 1 or 2 bounces going their way. And Pedri was one of the guys that put in those tackles, but I think Pedri was really, really good. And I don't know, if you're growing up trying to be a midfielder, just watch Pedri. Just watch him. He's fantastic. Casado, I didn't like. He is definitely slow in a way Gavi is not, and Pedri isn't. Casado is slow, and it doesn't mean I don't like him as a player, but today he was not good. He made a couple good tackles, but again, just wasn't giving me enough in possession. Was like, I see on the timeline on Twitter saying he's like really physical, but every time he's up against a bigger player, I don't know. I'm worried in a way. I know Gavi's going to throw himself in there and do something. Casado, he's trying to. Today he was a little shaky, and I don't think that means he should go. I don't think we should sell him because I think what he adds to this team, the fire and the depth he does add is good. And in theory, against the Levante that just got promoted, this is a game he should be playing. But when the whole team is kind of thrown into this weird state of flux where he's replacing one of the main pillars of the team for the past couple months, and Rafinha is playing central. The pitch is hard to pass on. Eric Garcia is at right back. Lamine Yamal is not on his game. It makes it really hard on Casado, where I'm not blaming him for the performance today, but he wasn't great, and I think Gavi came in and improved the side immediately. He's quicker. His first step, he's got a much higher acceleration. I don't know if FIFA reads it that way, but my eyeballs are seeing that, and I think that's pretty clear. And Gavi just feels like there's more to Gavi, more playing time, more potential with Gavi for sure. I think today he was solid. I don't think he was spectacular, but I see more runs from him. I see more impact from him, at least today. Casado, maybe a 5-6 at best. Moving up, Rafinha. I saw him finally take a rip of the ball in the second half, and he got into the play much more with the whole team just kind of clicking a lot more, and that's great. But as that number 10, which I thought was going to be more of his position, I thought it was going to be more of Rashford starting on the left, Rafinha playing as the number 10. Very clearly today, that just isn't the case, at least in this game when it's kind of hard to penetrate the middle with those passes. He didn't look spectacular, but that doesn't mean it's, done. It just means that change is not immediately going to happen and they're going to work on it a little bit more. Still looked decent, and I loved him at left back. I've been saying this for maybe 2 years now. I made this call in my first video ever on him. I was like, dude, he could play left back and it would be fine. And he did, and he's fine. The way he maintains the high line is a little weird and shaky, but he's a really, really good player, is able to maintain that energy throughout the game in a way nobody else is. Ferran Torres did a pretty good job of that too, but back to Ferran. Rafinha, I'll give him like a 7, 6.5, 7. Again, just because not really playing into the game perfectly, and that's pretty much the main story. Like Ferran Torres, it's a similar story where I think he was solid, but some of those like really quick moves and passes didn't come together, even though some did. And the finish where he tries to go top bins, hits the bar like flat on. Unlucky, I guess. He put a little too much on it, and in that position, with that much time, with a perfect pass from Pedri, you want a lot more from him there. From your striker, Lewandowski, you'd expect to put that in. Got to see more from him because he missed that. I can't really give him any more than a 6.5. He was a factor in that third goal, the deflecky, what I like to call it, the deflecky. Promising. I'm seeing more from him, and I like what I see, but there's still signs that El Tiburon needs to put one or two things together, and he will. I have confidence in him. Same way I have it with Lamine, and I was like holding on to hope that he was going to put it together, and I think he did improve throughout the game. Rashford, I'll just give him like a 5. I really don't think he was good. He was running into space a little bit, put in a couple good balls, but I think it is hard because it's just it is weird to play when the whole team's not there clicking right. And so I'm not that critical of these guys. I'm not holding this against Casado or Rashford or anything like that, but it's just what I saw. I'm sure some of you guys saw differently. You're going to tell me in the comments, as you always do, and that's fine. That's the point of these videos, to have a discussion, to talk about it. Lamine Yamal wasn't on his game. I think the slow pitch was absolutely affecting him. He wasn't being able to like dribble past his man. Manu Sanchez still did a good job. It's not all the pitch. But you'd expect a little bit more bite from Lamine, where he beat his man a couple times, especially in the very beginning. But as of that, maybe he realized the pitch was a little gross. Maybe he got a little tired. There wasn't a ton of movement around him, to be fair. Eric Garcia wasn't overlapping that much, but you saw it improve a little bit in the second half when Gavi started making those runs centrally and at the very end especially. But ended up getting, helping out with was it the second or the third goal where, plays the ball in that ended up getting deflected and becoming an own goal. Lamine Yamal, the finishing boots are there sometimes. I'm not surprised, where I think he did just get his finishing boots in the past couple months maybe. And because The pitch was so terrible. That absolutely messes up with your connection with the ball. I think that's why it was so apparent to me that Ron was struggling so much with these passes or not able to make a really aggressive one. That being said, I think he was, still putting together like a 7 of a performance, still showed up in a way that helped the team in the end. And yeah, it wasn't a perfect performance from him, but we don't need a perfect performance from Lamine. That's just the simple fact. And I think the subs were great. I think Hansi made the absolute right choices. I think Gavi and Olmo were really, really good. I think Christensen, we got to see more from him, but he definitely offers a different profile to Ron, which is being much better on the ball, and I think a little bit more competent. He looked a little concerned at the end, to be fair, when we were trying to run out the game, but it worked out. I'm not going to think too much about that, not because I'll make myself crazy, but looked good. I think Gavi looked good, and Lewandowski looked solid when he came on. I think he's unlucky to not get that penalty goal. Again, guys, I don't want to spread this corruption nonsense. It's just Hernandez who's the referee being bad. I really firmly believe that nothing's going to happen because that doesn't happen unless it's Real Madrid TV complaining about it because they have the most pull. They're in Madrid with the whole RFEF, which is where all of the referees have to live in Madrid. And they just have more pull. They just complain about it. And it ends up working, at least to the extent of getting actual not fines usually, but like punishments, you could say, for these referees being so terrible. It's just bad. I watched the Mallorca game. I watched the Atleti Elche game today. It's the same story for every game. It's not just Barcelona. It's not just Madrid. It's just terrible refereeing in La Liga. I think at one point it probably was corruption. I think right now it's probably just these guys being absolutely terrible. But it is what it is, boys. We won 3 points. That's the big takeaway. Not the most confidence-inducing, and we'll see how this goes at the end of the week. Or I think on the 28th this month, we're gonna see the Champions League draw. I'll probably make a video about that, talk a little bit about what it looks like for us. I'm gonna be in Italy for a period of the time too, so I might be able to go see a game if we end up playing an Italian team. That would be sick. Fingers aren't crossed because a lot of stars would have to align for that to happen. But I think it'll be hopefully a good draw for us. Solid point moving forward. 3 points is 3 points, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.